Hello and welcome back to Stories with me, Jesse. And today we're taking a look at some of the unreasonable and quite possibly insane accounts being shared at Reddit/entitledparents. Let me know what you think of these stories in the comments, as well as any suggestions you might have that we may just use in a future installment. Tell your children to go to their rooms, or at least cover their ears, because we're getting started now. Our first story is titled, I just saw a lady get tasered for trying to snatch a woman's face mask to give to her child. I argued with my husband whether or not to post this because I'm pretty sure this will make the local news, and I didn't want to burn this account just yet. But he won RPS, so here we are. Prepare yourself, this story has layers. We were at the dreaded big box store picking up potting soil because we are going to DIY ourselves through the isolation. Things aren't crazy here yet, but there is a 2 per customer limit on a majority of items. I assume this means everything, so we're getting 2 bags each of a few different types of soil. My husband is loading the last of 8 bags on our cart when I hear her. I know it's a Karen just by the level of unnecessary outrage in her voice. Are you kidding me? Not a lot of people out here in the garden center, but we all look to her. I was almost disappointed to see she didn't come with the requisite haircut. She actually looked like a frazzled mom, her kid tugging on her hand in an overfull handbasket of groceries, and I had a moment of, girl, I feel ya. But damn it, she was pointing at us. You can't buy that many! You are hoarding! My husband, yeah, we can. We're getting 2 each. Oh, you don't fool me! I know what you're doing! So do I. F*** off. I'm just sitting there imagining all the ways I'm gonna rock his world tonight. Well, Karen huffed at that, spun around and yanked her kid back inside to go complain to the employee working the register nearby. Now, we already paid for our items. The employee had come out and scanned the bags earlier, and he could easily see our cart from inside. So, being finished, we pushed the cart out of the garden center into the parking lot, and then the automatic doors open behind us, and I hear, "Now they're stealing!" Just great. We load the soil in the car and turn around to bring the cart back and look at plants. By the time we get back, Karen has given up on trying to convince the employee we're the Bonnie and Clyde of dirt, and is now trying to negotiate skipping somebody in line. She has a child, you see, and her handbasket, well, it's just so full and heavy. Could she please just scooch right on in here real quick, and it'll just be an extra second, she swears. The woman Karen is trying to skip is young, maybe college age, and wearing a face mask. Not a medical mask, but the stretchy kind you'd wear while riding a motorcycle or when you're skiing. My husband has just informed me it's a neck gaiter. The mask is black and has like scary wolf teeth on it that honestly made the girl look like somebody you should not f*** with. Even though she was wearing a Gap t-shirt and flip-flops, Mask Girl is just shaking her head no, and that's all I got as we dropped off the cart. I browse, pick up a couple plants, and we head inside to wait in line. Now it's showtime. Karen and Mask Girl are near the register facing off, no pun intended. From the looks of things, Mask Girl finished her purchase and Karen stopped her before she could leave. I don't know if she grabbed her or anything, but Karen was still holding her full handbasket, so she hadn't checked out yet. Well, she hadn't paid for her groceries yet because clearly this woman had checked out. But you don't even need it now! You're leaving! My son could get sick because you won't give it to him and he needs it! Hell no, you can't have it! Back off, lady! But my son really likes it, and obviously it's made for boys anyways. Why would you even want to wear something so scary? Because I like it, and it has my germs on it. Why would you put a stranger's mask on your kid? Why are you being so rude? You wouldn't let us go through the checkout first, and now you're making my son very upset! Your problem, not mine. And then Mask Girl turns to leave while Karen manifests the biggest balls ever and grabs Mask Girl by the back of her mask. Let me make a side note here. When all this is going down, we're just standing in line and watching. The register is still going boop, 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 as the employee scans items, but otherwise we are all just inside this hypnotic bubble. But when Karen reached out towards Mask Girl, it was like the bubble popped and made everything crystal clear. Not slow-mo or anything, but I absolutely felt hyper-aware like Spider-Man. Karen reaches out, People on both sides of me inhale loudly. Karen grabs the mask and yanks. A lady on my right yells and my husband steps forward. So getting laid tonight. Mask girl tucks her head down and she turns to Karen like a pissed off bull with a bright and shiny new target. I think Karen was going to say something like, "Don't walk away from me," or something, but all she got out was, "Don't crack." I looked around because the noise was so loud I figured the roof was about to cave in, but out of the corner of my eye I see Karen spasm and drop to the floor writhing. Little Miss Mask Girl had a f***ing taser! I don't know when she pulled it out, this tiny little flashlight looking thing, but she laid Karen out with it. And not one of us moved for what felt like forever, like we were frozen. And then it was f***ing bedlam. Security guard shows up, more employees show up, Mask Girl is chilling like she's been through this before and knows what comes next. The kid is screaming that the wolf girl killed his mom, and even though she's groaning and sobbing on the floor, and clearly not dead but maybe wishing she was, the people that had been in line with us were all talking at once trying to tell the security guard what happened. We hung around just witnessing the insanity for maybe 2 minutes before Karen started choking out demands for an ambulance, the police, a lawyer, the mayor, restitution, and reparations. My husband made eye contact with an employee and got a thumbs up when he put the plants on a shelf and pointed towards the door. We gotta get the f*** out of here. We drove home in silence until my husband parked the car in our driveway, and then we just burst out laughing. Neither of us had ever seen anything like that before. We live in a small beach town. People are super laid back and mellow. Karen was anything but, and I hope to never see her again. Boy, oh boy, that must have been one hell of a guilty pleasure, seeing that Karen get laid out by this random masked stranger. Like, I believe in karma as much as the next person, but when divine intervention literally manifests itself right in front of you like that, wow, I can't help but giggle like a little schoolgirl at the idea of some badass woman smiting my enemies like that. What a woman! Moving on, our next story is called Karen Gets Bitten in the Face by Dog. Hello there, pun intended. I have another story about my EM. This one isn't as big as trying to follow me on a plane or threatening to kidnap me, but it is something. When I was in my early teens, I was friends with a girl who lived a few houses down from me. I was never really allowed over at her house because of my parents, but today was the second or third, but last time I had been there after school. My mom stopped by, as she for some reason latched on really quickly to my friend's mom and would periodically stop by to complain about her crappy marriage to her. As you can imagine, my friend's mom didn't really like this, but she was always polite. They have a dog who was a rescue, and he had come from a bad home that hurt him. On top of this, he was a senior and had a ton of medical conditions. He really was a good boy who was a big ball of affection towards her family. My mom comes knocking on the door and the following goes down. 2 seconds, I'll be right there. Friend's mom, is that you? Realizing it's Karen and knows exactly what she's here for, I see her mentally prepare herself before opening the door. Hello. Hi, friend's mom. How are you? Hello, Karen. I'm okay. Thanks. You? Oh, terrible! My husband's seeing other women and— Dog slowly walks over to see who's at the door and stops in front of Karen. Huh? Look at the puppy! Oh, sweet boy, come here! She steps inside the house and quickly gets close to the dog, who starts cowering from the sudden loud presence. FM places her hand on the dog's back to comfort him. Yeah, he's a bit nervous with new people and doesn't like a lot of noise. Karen ignores her. So cute! Look at the puppy! She gets down on her knees and shuffled over to him. I don't think you should be getting too close to him. I am watching from afar but start to come over. I see the dog is starting to tense up and my friend's mom is trying to comfort him while trying to slowly take him away, but my EM keeps getting closer. He's just shy. Don't worry. I have a dog. I know what I'm doing. Who's a good boy? The dog tries to turn his face away from her. She forcefully takes his face into her hands and presses her face against his snout. Mom. Good boy! Hello! The dog snaps at her, growling as he nips her right in the face. We all yell in shock and FM quickly takes him away. Probably good to mention he's a big dog. The dog runs off and hides somewhere. Mom, holding her face, stumbles back and starts crying. Your dog bit me! I'm so sorry. Are you okay? He's never done this before. He bit me! Dog has never bitten anyone before. He's completely docile. He came from a bad home originally and was probably scared you were getting too close and loud. Oh, so it's my fault? You should not have such a dangerous animal! They try to calm her down while she argues and shouts to all the neighbors about their aggressive dog. She refuses to let go of her face and is still crying. Somehow, we manage to convince her to show us her face. Not even a scratch, not even any slobber. The dog must have just snapped as a warning rather than actually causing any harm. Yet she's still insisting he hurt her and implies he should be euthanized. This pisses us all off, of course. My mom tells me to come with her and that she doesn't want me around a dangerous animal. I say goodbye to my friend and follow my mom outside. My friend's mom, despite the whole ordeal, was the bigger person and walked us out. My mom turns to her and suddenly seems unbothered by her supposedly injured face.
So, about my husband, my marriage is in a really bad place.
She starts to go on about how bad my dad is to her, but she shakes her head.
I don't know what to tell you. You aren't gonna listen!
You said you wanted to get home because of your face.
Yeah, but I'm being nice to you even after your dog bit me!
We got home soon after and my mom was ranting about calling the police, the news, the town, anyone who would listen to her sob story. Instead, she called her friend over to make up a scheme to try and get this poor dog put down, only to both get too drunk on wine to remember. I asked my mom how her face was in the morning, and all she responded with was,
I don't want to talk about it.
The dog is still around today, but ancient as heck. Still a good boy. I honestly feel bad for the dog, you know? Animals can't exactly speak up to say that they're uncomfortable or scared, and if you can't pick up on their body language, maybe you should just as well leave them alone, for their benefit as well as yours. At this point, I wanted to give a shout out to Hero LP for suggesting that I add entitled parents to the roster. After being featured on another channel, the last thing I wanted to do was totally copy their content, so I tried to stay away from it and find some juicy stories elsewhere. But 13 uploads later, I feel I've done enough differently to warrant entitled parents another visit, especially considering that Bonnie Scott and Trisha Smith got to know me there. I am so incredibly thankful for the small but loving community we have. Thanks again for tuning in with me, Jesse. What did you think of these stories? Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content, and check out what other stories I have for you. Have a wonderful day, and try not to be a Karen. I'll catch you next time. Hey there, Loki! Kitty kitty cat! Such a good little Loki cat. Try and be a nice roommate, okay?